Do you know what this means? Do you? Do you really? Cause I'm not quite sure. This is an L plate. It means that I'm a learner driver. It's just saying, hey, I'm still learning how to do this, just go easy on me, alright? Its single purpose in life is just to tell everybody else on the road, I have no idea what I'm doing! Please somebody help me! It's a great system, and it makes the roads safer for everyone, not to mention the process of learning road rules and learning how to drive in traffic go as smoothly as possible, which is very difficult already, especially if you're learning in a manual, like me. But no! Nobody does that! It's so simple. It's so simple. It's so simple. As soon as people see one of these on your car, they just think, oh look! He's an L-plater, I can get past him, he doesn't know what he's doing! No! No! That's not how it works. This happens to me so often when I'm out driving, and just why? Why? When I drive somewhere, I usually see at least 3 people doing something completely illegal, either overtaking on double lines, pulling out in front of me, and the people that do this, they're not only endangering me, but they're endangering themselves and literally everybody else on the road at the same time. Not to mention making me more scared and on edge than I already am, just being on the road in the first place. Because remember, I'm learning, if that wasn't clear to you, by the bright yellow L plates strapped to my car. Oh my gosh! Literally, if I was a policeman, I could just cruise around all day taking down the number plates of cars that do illegal things in the presence of my fabulous L plates. In fact, you know what? There's a tip for you highway patrol officers out there. Just strap a couple of L plates to an unmarked police car and just think of all the tickets you get, alright? Just you bringing in the money, you know, keeping the national economy afloat. Just New South Wales Police, just, you know, hit me up. Am I right? That's a well-disguised Instagram promotion there. You gonna go check it out, maybe? It'd be great. I finally decided to make this video after I was driving home the other day, and I turned into an 80 zone. Now, I was driving Dad's ute, which doesn't exactly have the greatest acceleration, so it took me a while to get up to speed. Behind me was another driver who, he's been following me for like 10 or 15 minutes, and he's been great. He's been staying a nice distance back, he's been nice and patient when I've not been able to speed up quite as fast as I might like. But behind him is another driver, and he wants to get past me because he thinks I'm a learner and he thinks I'm going to be driving really slowly. The particular stretch of road that we're on has dotted lines for maybe 300 meters, so, you know, enough time to overtake and get past someone, just. So as soon as I turn onto this stretch of road, the driver behind me immediately pulls out into the other lane ready to overtake. So by the time he's overtaken the first car that's behind me, I've managed to persuade my dad's ute to get up into fourth, which, you know, is considerable achievement. But of course the other driver, Mr. Impatient, he didn't realize that. So we're now going the same speed, and he's next to me trying to overtake. Okay, maybe I'm doing 10 kilometers under the speed limit, but that's because I know that there's a tight turn coming up and I'm being safe. We're about to approach a blind hill, and the lines go back to double lines, because, you know, it's a blind hill. At this point, what the other driver should have done is he should have realized there is no way he would be able to pass me before we get to the blind hill. It's just not possible. Should have gone, okay, fair point, and pulled in behind me and waited to a safe spot to overtake. But oh no, he's a learner. He must be going so slowly, I can get past him no problem. So boom, he overtakes me on double lines on a blind hill. And he barely got back onto the right side of the road before another car passed on the other side, which we couldn't see coming because it was a blind hill. Hence the double lines. If he had been just a couple of seconds slower, it would have ended in a complete head-on collision, which would have probably turned into a 4-car pileup because there was no way that me or the car that was still behind me would have been able to stop in time to avoid the accident. This also just happens to me all the time when people just overtake me for no reason, particularly when I'm doing the speed limit and they just assume that I'm not because I'm an L-plater, and then they end up speeding because that's the only way that they can get past me. And that's just my most recent story. I once had someone beep at me when I was at a roundabout because I was waiting for a safe gap. Now, I've been on my L's for about a year, so I'm not overly new to this, but what if it was my first time ever at a roundabout? And you're getting mad at me because I didn't take a gap in the traffic that was only just big enough for an experienced driver. And the tailgaters. People come up so close behind you because you think you're going slow. And it's like, what if I had to stop suddenly? And you think I'm going slow now, but I'd slow down even more if the front of your car was dented in because you couldn't slow down in time. I think the worst one that I've had just for blatant disregard for road rules and prejudice against learners is there's this one intersection intersection near where I live that looks like this. It's a bit of a strange one because although it's a T intersection, the giveaway rules are a little bit different. Basically, if I'm here and I want to turn left, the traffic coming from here has to give way to me. Again, a bit different to a normal T intersection, but it's pretty clearly marked to anyone who can, you know, see with vision. I know I have the right of way, but I slow down anyway just to be safe. So I get ready to make my turn because it's pretty obvious that he's going to stop, according to, you know, the law. But then he sees that I'm a learner and immediately speeds up to get in front of me, which is completely illegal, by the way. I slam on my brakes to avoid the accident and I'm left sitting there at this intersection with all the other drivers who are just like, did that truck really just do that to that poor learner? I wouldn't even mind if it was just an accident and the truck driver just forgot to give way or something. That's fine, mistakes happen, I get that. But no, it was pretty clear from the way it happened. It was deliberate. It was, yeah, and it happened again. At the same intersection, a few weeks later, I was preparing to turn left. There was a woman on the right who was clearly slowing down to stop, and then as soon as she saw the L plates, she roared off in front of me and I had to stop suddenly. Learner drivers are really not that much slower than the rest of the traffic, and instead of giving you more time to just cut them off, they're more likely probably to panic and not stop in time and cause an accident. Like in this situation, if I had have forgotten to put my clutch in and just slammed on the brake, the car probably would have hopped forward and caused an accident, and the other driver would have been to blame because they didn't give way to me. I feel like this issue really needs to be addressed somehow. I don't know if it's just drivers in my area. I have heard a few people say that the drivers in the Southern Highlands are really bad for L-platers, but it's just, it shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. I personally found learning to drive really fun and enjoyable, and I don't get overly stressed out about traffic and that kind of thing, but I know that there are heaps of learners out there that are a lot more nervous and can get stressed out easily. And I completely understand that. Like, I totally sympathize with that. It's hugely nerve-wracking learning to drive, and trust me, it is hard enough without people on the road being rude and impatient and putting you in danger. So please, if you are a P-plater or a full licensed driver, for the sake of teenagers like me who are trying to learn to drive in this incredibly busy world that we live in, please just take a moment before you judge someone for being less experienced than you are. Because you had to learn once as well. I know learners are slow and take a long time to make turns and all of that, and I know you're probably running late for some big important bingo tournament or something, but just don't put yourself and everybody else on the road in danger just because you see one of these. A few extra seconds of patience could go a really long way in helping someone learn and keeping the road safe. And I just honestly want to thank every driver who, like the one that was following me the other day, who really do respect you and are patient and really respect what these are for and what they mean. Because it's hugely encouraging and it just makes learning and becoming confident on the road a lot easier. Thank you so much for watching this video. I wanted to make it because it's an issue that I encounter more often than not when I'm driving, and I just feel like it would be a good thing to bring it up one way or another. If you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate it if you share it with friends and people you know, or even just bring the topic up in conversation or something, I don't know. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!